At exactly 9 in the morning, a metallic trumpet sounded through the halls of the Intergalactic Bureau. A message immediately followed. Attention all employees. Today is Bureau Sports Day. Attendance is mandatory. Absence will be considered an act of treason against morale. Jeremy, the ever-unlucky Earth intern, groaned at his desk. Sports Day? In space? What could possibly go wrong? He muttered to himself. The office printer, never one to miss an opportunity, replied helpfully. Everything, statistically speaking. When Jeremy arrived at the Bureau's recreation dome, a sense of unease washed over him. The entire massive arena had been converted into a zero-gravity zone. He saw bleachers floating aimlessly, snack drones spinning through the air, and an incredibly enthusiastic alien commentator named Zlorp the Encouraging, who was currently yelling through 16 microphones at once. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Zero-Gravity Olympics, Zlorp's voice echoed. Today, our brave employees will compete for glory, team spirit, and snacks that will probably explode. The teams began to gather at the center of the dome for the opening ceremony. First, there was Team Slime, represented by a large, gelatinous being named Glorp, and several of his oozing relatives, all waving tiny flags made of liquid. Then came Team Chrome, the robots, who marched in perfect, synchronized formation, their movements timed to the Bureau's Wi-Fi beat. They were followed by Team Tentacle, Team Crystal, and a group ominously labeled Team Unknown but possibly Carnivorous. And then there was Jeremy. He stood alone, a solitary figure under a banner that read, Team Earth, Participation Award pending. He glanced around at the bizarre collection of competitors and sighed. Well, he thought, at least I can't disappoint anyone but myself. Just then, the supervisor drone hovered down, handing each participant a glowing sports band. These bands will track your heart rate, oxygen levels, and the number of times you question your life choices, the drone announced in a monotone voice. Jeremy looked down at his. Mine's definitely going to run out of battery, he muttered under his breath. A sharp whistle blew, signaling the start of the first event. Zero-gravity volleyball. Balls made of pure plasma light were released into the air. They floated lazily for a moment before shooting off in random directions with explosive force. Jeremy, trying to be a good sport, attempted to hit one but only succeeded in sending himself spinning helplessly in midair. Meanwhile, Glorp from Team Slime effortlessly used its slime tentacles to bounce the ball across the arena. A robot from Team Chrome suddenly boosted its thrusters, spiking a plasma ball so hard it momentarily ripped open a wormhole. Jeremy screamed as the ball whizzed past his head and vanished into another dimension entirely. Point to someone, Zlorp shouted happily from the commentator's booth. That was some truly athletic chaos. As Jeremy continued to flail in the air, he yelled out, "How do I stop spinning?" A kind-looking alien from another team floated by and shouted back, "You don't. You simply learn to spin with purpose." The next event was the zero-gravity relay race. This challenge required each participant to float across a series of rapidly rotating rings while carrying a glowing baton that, for some reason, occasionally tried to bite them. When it was finally Jeremy's turn, he grabbed the baton with extreme caution. "Stay calm, just stay calm," he whispered to it. The baton growled in response. He pushed off from the starting ring and immediately collided with a floating snack drone, causing popcorn to scatter everywhere like cosmic dust. Behind him, the supervisor drone called out, "Focus! Intern Jeremy! Remember, failure is mandatory, but style is optional." Still flailing, Jeremy bumped into Glorp, who helpfully bounced him forward with a well-aimed slime wave. He somehow managed to reach the finish ring, only slightly dizzy, and now completely covered in a thin layer of gelatinous goo. The scoreboard flashed to life. Earth, technically finished. Points, pity bonus, +1. Jeremy sighed. A pity point was better than nothing, he supposed. Then came the tug of war, but with a typical Bureau twist. It was a tug-of-war across space-time. Two teams were tasked with pulling on a glowing rope made of pure dark matter. The rules were deceptively simple. Do not fall into another reality. Jeremy was placed on Team Slime. "This feels incredibly dangerous," he said nervously. Glorp just smiled, a wobble running through its gelatinous form. "Danger is a bonding experience," it replied cheerfully. The whistle blew, and both sides began to pull with all their might. The rope stretched, twisted, and vibrated with immense energy. Suddenly, it snapped back, flinging Jeremy and 3 of his alien teammates through a minor time rift. A few seconds later, they reappeared, looking noticeably older, wiser, and for some reason, slightly hungrier. Did we win?" Jeremy asked, disoriented. The supervisor drone floated over. "Possibly. You have aged 32 minutes, which technically makes you more experienced." The crowd cheered wildly at the spectacle. Zlorp's voice boomed. "That was the most thrilling disqualification of the century." For the grand finale, the Bureau introduced the Orbital Marathon. This was a long-distance floating race around the outer hull of the entire space station. Runners had to use small, personal propulsion packs to navigate in circles around the station while avoiding meteor dust, rogue vending drones, and the occasional comet fragment. Jeremy strapped on his propulsion belt, muttering to himself, "I barely passed gym class on Earth. This is a terrible idea." At the starting signal, everyone launched into space. True to form, Jeremy immediately spun in the wrong direction and crashed headfirst into a giant billboard that read, "The Bureau cares about safety, most of the time." He finally managed to find some momentum and started floating rhythmically, dodging debris, cosmic pigeons, and one overly enthusiastic toaster from the cafeteria that was yelling, "For breakfast and glory," as it zipped past. As he neared the finish line, he could see the other competitors already celebrating their completion of the race. He was dead last, as expected. But then, by some absurd miracle, a passing meteor skimmed by, its gravitational pull giving him an unexpected boost of speed. He was propelled through the finish arch in a blaze of accidental victory. The scoreboard blinked uncertainly for a moment before displaying the final result. Earth, winner, by unexpected physics. The crowd erupted in a mix of cheers and bewildered laughter. Glorp waved its slime tentacles proudly. The robots from Team Chrome played a series of triumphant victory beeps. At the closing ceremony, the supervisor drone floated to the center of the dome, holding a glowing trophy shaped like an exploding star. Today's zero-gravity Olympics have demonstrated the true meaning of teamwork, courage, and mild confusion, the drone announced. And so, the winner of the Most Unexpected Success Award is Intern Jeremy of Planet Earth. Jeremy floated forward to accept the trophy. The moment his fingers touched it, it transformed into a single shimmering bubble and promptly popped. "Of course," he said dryly. Zlorp, ever the optimist, boomed, "What a performance! Let this day be remembered as the moment humanity accidentally outperformed logic." The crowd cheered again, joyfully throwing toast, confetti, and random piles of paperwork into the zero-gravity air. Later, as the arena lights dimmed and the zero-gravity field was shut down, Jeremy drifted gently back toward his desk, still glowing faintly from residual stardust. He looked at the camera with a weary smile. "Another day, another cosmic disaster, but hey, I won a trophy, sort of." He held up a small, iridescent piece of the popped bubble residue. If you've ever survived a chaotic office event, a ridiculous school sports day, or any competition that made absolutely no sense at all, share this video with your friends, your coworkers, or your favorite alien roommate. Because sometimes, victory isn't about winning, it's about not floating away completely. He gave a small salute to the camera. "This is Jeremy from Earth, signing off before management invents another team-building exercise." As the screen began to fade, the office printer chirped one last time. "Attention all staff. Tomorrow is Bureau Talent Night. Please bring your own reality distortion field. Jeremy let out a long, audible sigh. I need a vacation, preferably on a planet with gravity.